This is DD India and you're watching Express News, a program where we bring you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's begin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with Mauritius Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam on Thursday in Varanasi. Both leaders reviewed full spectrum of bilateral cooperation, civilizational connect and spiritual bond and deep-rooted people-to-people ties between the two countries. Leaders of India and Mauritius held delegation-level talks today. Discussions focused on strengthening bilateral ties in spheres of trade, investment, space, science and technology and people-to-people ties. 7 MOUs and agreements have been signed between India and Mauritius on science, oceanography, personnel training, power, development projects, hydrography and space cooperation. Addressing a joint presser along with Mauritius Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India will support Mauritius in strengthening its health infrastructure and will support in establishing a 500-bedded specialty hospital. Upon his arrival in his constituency, Varanasi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a rousing welcome. Chants of Modi echoed in the atmosphere. People welcomed their Prime Minister with great enthusiasm. Prime Minister visited Uttarakhand on Thursday and held a review meeting there. Prime Minister announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees for the families of the deceased and 50,000 rupees for those injured. Prime Minister Modi also interacted with the flood-affected people in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Prime Minister announced financial assistance of 1,200 crore rupees for the flood and rain-affected areas in Uttarakhand. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with National Disaster Response Force and State Disaster Response Force personnel as he took stock of the flood situation in the state. To facilitate passengers who have been stranded due to recent developments in Nepal, Air India began operating special flights for 2 days from Wednesday from Delhi to Kathmandu and back. Indigo Airlines too issued a travel advisory saying in these extraordinary times in Kathmandu, it is the priority of their airline to reunite loved ones. Starting Thursday, Indigo has resumed 4 daily scheduled flights to and from Kathmandu. Meanwhile, negotiations are underway between Nepal's President Ramachandra Paudel, Nepali Army Chief Ashok Raj Sigdel and representatives of the Gen Z youth movement on Thursday. Nepal President Ramachandra Paudel vowed to address challenges within constitutional bounds urged by civil societies to guide Gen Z protests against corruption. 34 deaths and 11,000 people have been injured in the unrest so far. Key demands include establishment of a system for directly elected executives, the election of federal parliament members from the Gen Z generation, and the investigation of assets of all officials who have held public office since 1989. The meeting also focused on judicial probes into corruption cases and the need to make arrangements to prevent MPs from becoming ministers. The Gen Z representatives have also chosen former Chief Justice of Nepal, Sushila Karki, as their sole nominee for the position of interim Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Communist Party of Nepal's chairman and former Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal issued a detailed 10-point statement expressing solidarity with the Gen Z movement, saying that the Gen Z agenda aligns with his party's long-standing demand. Based on the security situation, Nepali Army informed that the prohibitory order and curfew have been extended in Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur districts until 6 a.m. till Friday. Delhi Police's special cell has arrested 5 terror suspects allegedly linked to a wider module planning anti-national activities. The suspects were arrested from Delhi and 3 other states including Jharkhand, Telangana and Maharashtra. In a historic first, 10 women officers from the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force embarked on a tri-service circumnavigation mission on board Indian Army sailing vessel or IASV Triveni from Thursday. This all-women expedition is a milestone in India's maritime journey, showcasing Nari Shakti or women power in uniform, tri-service unity and the spirit of adventure. IASV Triveni, a 50-foot yacht built indigenously in Puducherry. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh virtually flagged off the expedition, which will cover over 26,000 nautical miles. The team of women officers will be crossing the equator twice and rounding the 3 Great Capes, braving the world's toughest oceans. A technology transfer agreement has been signed between New Space India Limited, ISRO, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Centre and Hindustan Aeronautics Limited for the transfer of the small satellite launch vehicle technology. Developed by ISRO, the SSLV is designed as a quick turnaround on-demand launch vehicle that can be efficiently scaled for industrial production. Union Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav is in Jaipur on a one-day visit to review the redevelopment work of railway stations in Rajasthan. The minister reviewed the redevelopment work of railway stations in Rajasthan. He mentioned how efforts are being made to introduce new trains for the state, including Vande Bharat services from Delhi to Jodhpur, Bikaner and Jaisalmer. FICCI organized 2-day Leeds 2025 Global Leadership Conclave on collaborations for growth in a transformative world. Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav highlighted India's green growth vision and collaborative progress. Indian diplomat Kshitij Tyagi sharply rebuked Switzerland at the 60th UNHRC session, calling its comments on India's minorities and media rights surprising, shallow and ill-informed, following Switzerland's call for protective measures a day earlier. In business news, the benchmark Indian equity indices settled on a positive note on Thursday. BSE Sensex closed with gains of 124 points at 81,549. Nifty at the National Stock Exchange ended at 25,001. At the Forex market, Indian rupee plunged 33 paise to close at an all-time low of 88 rupees 44 paise against the US dollar on Thursday. Asian and European equities rose on Thursday, buoyed by US rate cut hopes after PPI fell, with Tokyo's Shanghai indices up, London also up and Hong Kong down 0.4%. In international updates, Poland warned of potential open conflict after 19 Russian drones allegedly breached its airspace during a Ukraine attack. Meanwhile, Russia again denied violating Polish airspace, claiming drones strayed unintentionally due to jamming. Poland insists that the incursion was a deliberate form of aggression. The UN Security Council will convene on Friday at Poland's request after accusations on Russia of violating its airspace by carrying out a drone raid on Polish territory. Qatar hit back at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a strongly worded statement early on Thursday, describing his remarks about the Gulf countries' hosting of a Hamas office as reckless. Qatar's Prime Minister has also warned that the unprecedented Israeli strike has killed hope for Gaza hostages, calling for Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu to be brought to justice. The heated exchange came a day after Israel attempted to kill Hamas political leaders in an airstrike on Qatar on Tuesday. Netanyahu warned Qatar to either expel Hamas officials or bring them to justice, because if they won't, Netanyahu would. He also accused Qatar of providing safe haven and financing to Hamas. In a statement, Qatar's foreign ministry condemned what it described as Netanyahu's explicit threats of future violations of state sovereignty. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi, in a call with Qatar's Emir, condemned Israel's Doha strikes on Hamas as sovereignty violation, urging dialogue to avoid escalation and affirming India's stand against terrorism for regional stability. US President Donald Trump reportedly told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that his decision to target Hamas inside Qatar wasn't wise. Sources say Trump made the comments during a heated phone call on Tuesday after the attack. An emergency United Nations Security Council meeting in response to Israel's strikes on Qatar has been scheduled for Thursday. It got postponed from Wednesday at the request of Qatar so that the Prime Minister of Qatar can take part in the meeting. US right-wing activist Charlie Kirk, a close ally of Donald Trump and co-founder of Turning Point USA, was shot dead during an event at a Utah university on Wednesday. Kirk collapsed as a gunshot rang out, sending the crowd into panic. US President Donald Trump condemned the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk, calling him a man of deep faith and urging Americans to reject political violence. Flags at the White House were lowered to half staff in his honor. Mourners gathered at the Utah State Capitol on Wednesday night to hold a vigil for Charlie Kirk. Supporters held signs reading, "We love you, Charlie Kirk," and paid tribute through emotional speeches and songs. US Vice President J.D. Vance will travel to Utah on Thursday to visit the family of Charlie Kirk following Kirk's fatal shooting at a university event. Vance had originally planned to attend 9/11 memorial events in New York with his wife, Usha Vance. The world marked the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, one of the deadliest terrorist strikes in history. On this day in 2001, Al-Qaeda hijackers crashed 4 planes in the US, bringing down the Twin Towers in New York, striking the Pentagon and killing nearly 3,000 people. A gas tank truck overturned and exploded on a highway in southeast Mexico City, killing at least 3 people and injuring 70. The blast engulfed multiple vehicles near the Iztapalapa-Chalco border, with firefighters battling flames and cooling the charred wreckage. Newly appointed French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu met with ministers on Wednesday to review the nationwide "Let's Block Everything" protests. He promised a profound break from the past, pledging a fresh approach amid France's deepening political crisis. On his first day in office, Prime Minister Lecornu was met with widespread protests resulting in clashes with police. One protester was hospitalized after being tear-gassed, while nearly 300 were arrested across France as 80,000 security forces were deployed nationwide. Brazil's Supreme Court Justice Luís Fux voted to acquit former President Jair Bolsonaro of an alleged coup attempt, annulling the trial over jurisdiction. 2 judges have been voted to convict Bolsonaro, while 2 others were appointed by President Lula. Fux's vote supports Bolsonaro's call for a full Supreme Court trial. Cuba faced its 5th nationwide blackout this year, triggered by an unexpected shutdown of the Antonio Guterres thermoelectric plant. The Energy Ministry is investigating as the country continues to struggle with its worst economic crisis in decades. We're heading for a short break in Express News. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned to DD India.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Goa, a food paradise, both steeped in historical culinary tradition and at the forefront of a modern-day food revolution that is fresher, more local, and more global than ever before. I'm embarking on a journey across the state to explore the very best of food here.
This is honestly my favorite way to eat an egg.
Break bread with
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. I'm Tadvi Taneja. Let's resume. On to weather updates. The India Meteorological Department has forecast heavy to very heavy rainfall across the northeast, east, central, northwestern hilly states and the southern peninsula over the next 5 days. Continuous downpours are expected, particularly in the northeastern states. Stable weather conditions are expected in Delhi NCR, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Jharkhand. Strong winds and thunderstorms are likely in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, while heavy rain warnings have been issued for Maharashtra from September 13th to 15th and for Konkan and Goa on September 14th and 15th. The death toll from the floods on Indonesia's island of Bali has risen to 14, with 2 people still missing in Denpasar. Over 500 residents have been evacuated to temporary shelters and 125 rescuers are searching for the missing. Torrential rains earlier this week triggered floods and landslides across 6 of Bali's 8 regions, blocking major roads and access to the international airport. Unusually heavy rainfall has caused widespread flooding in Vietnam's South Central and Central Highlands regions, inundating several streets in Da Lat city. Recent heavy rains in Vietnam's Dak Lak province have caused significant damage to crops, infrastructure and property. Landslides buried parts of provincial roads and several inter-village and field roads, prompting local authorities to mobilize recovery efforts. The Philippine island of Pugod, a small 7-hectare landmass, is sinking due to land subsidence caused by groundwater over-extraction and rising sea levels. Heavy rains flooded streets and major avenues in a suburb of Guadalajara, Mexico, blocking routes and preventing hundreds of residents from reaching their homes. Residents in Jalisco State, Mexico used trucks and canoes to navigate flooded streets after heavy rains caused the Arroyo Seco River to overflow. American fashion brand Ralph Lauren unveiled its Spring 2026 collection a day before New York Fashion Week, showcasing a striking range of black and white day-evening looks. A 6-year-old from Vietnam's Bac Ninh province with the beta thalassemia has recovered and has been discharged following a successful bone marrow transplant. The procedure used an immune tolerance technique, overcoming differences in donor and recipient blood types. Hundreds of tractors and thousands of farmers gathered in Cornuap, Western Australia to celebrate 100 years since the first Caterpillar tractor began operating in the state. The oldest Caterpillar 60 tractor, a rare and historic piece, drew crowds of over 1,000 people despite wet and windy weather in Kohinoor. Organizers say such a gathering is unlikely to happen again. India's Ministry of Culture has launched Gyan Bharatam, a national initiative to preserve, digitize and share the country's manuscript heritage. The first ever Gyan Bharatam International Conference began in New Delhi's Vigyan Bhavan, focusing on reclaiming India's knowledge legacy. Since July, Sea Shepherd and authorities in northern Greece have removed thousands of illegal octopus traps, saving over 1,500 octopuses amid rising global demand and illegal fishing during the breeding season. Finnish school Kungsvagen Skola has banned mobile phones, locking them away daily to boost student focus and encourage more social interaction during breaks. Palau's coral reefs have largely avoided global bleaching thanks to naturally heat-resistant corals. Scientists are now breeding and planting supercorals to protect reefs worldwide. In Tomika, Japan, 16 students learned knife making from master swordsmiths, hammering iron heated to 800 degrees Celsius during an online workshop. Since 2013, Vietnamese designer Kim Non in Hanoi has been turning discarded jeans into bags and accessories, reducing fashion waste and promoting sustainability. In Quang Tri, Vietnam, coastal authorities plan an $80 million road project to connect key hubs and launch new themed tours. The initiative aims to boost tourism and build the province's coastal brand this year. Mexico City's Isla de los Muñecos is a spooky tourist attraction where hundreds of dolls hung from trees and structures created by Julian Santana. The dolls are said to ward off the spirit of a girl who drowned in 1950. Prince Harry praised the Invictus Games Foundation's first decade during an event in London. He also reunited with his father, the King, ending a 19-month estrangement. Once a tourist paradise, Vietnam's Nha Trang is now a top choice for young people seeking careers and a balanced lifestyle. It was recently named Vietnam's most livable coastal city. In Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, a screening of the film Red Rain welcomed consular corps and students. The event is aimed to share Vietnam's history and strengthen global friendship through cultural exchange. In entertainment news now, Tom Holland revealed that he gets a new Spider-Man suit every 2 weeks while filming Spider-Man Brand New Day, which hits theatres on July 31st next year. Keanu Reeves' star A Good Fortune, directed by Aziz Ansari, will release in Indian theatres on October 17th. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon starrer The Rips teaser is out. The trailer was released on a streaming platform on Wednesday. Two-time Oscar winner Jodie Foster premiered her first French-language lead in a private life at the Toronto International Film Festival on Tuesday. Pulp, Wolf Alice, FKA Twigs, C. Matt and Sam Fender are among the 2025 Mercury Prize nominees. The £25,000 award honours top British and Irish albums across all genres. Ram Gopal Verma's 1995 hit Rangila returns to theatres for its 30th anniversary next month, giving new audiences a chance to see its genre-defining impact. Jackie Shroff celebrated 33 years of his 1992 film Angar on Thursday by posting scenes from the film on Instagram. Filmmaker Mohit Suri said that he hopes Sayara starring Ahan Pandey connects emotionally with global audiences as the film streams on Netflix from Friday. Shiva Hariharan's look as Ramesh in his Malayalam sports drama Balti starring Shani Nigam was revealed on social media. The film premieres on September 26th. Indian Bollywood actor Vishal Jetwa's film Homebound is to be screened at the Toronto International Film Festival. On to sports news now. In Asia Cup, India thrashed the host UAE by 9 wickets in their opening match of the tournament in Dubai. India chased down the paltry target of 58 in just 4.3 overs, which is the team's fastest ever successful run chase in T20s. Bangladesh is set to begin their Asia Cup campaign against a struggling Hong Kong side on Thursday. South Africa defeated England by 14 runs in the first T20 international of a 3-match series that was reduced to 5 overs in a wet Cardiff on Wednesday. The International Cricket Council announced an all-female panel of match officials for the upcoming ICC Women's Cricket World Cup 2025. Australian Davis Cup captain Leighton Hewitt was handed a 2-week suspension after being found guilty of pushing a doping control official. Former world record holder E. Kipchoge and Olympic champion Sifan Hassan are set to make their New York City Marathon debut in November. India's top men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty advanced to the quarterfinals of Hong Kong Open. Indian badminton ace Lakshya Sen got the better of compatriot HS Pranoy in the round of 16 encounter between the two in the Hong Kong Open. In World Boxing Championships, Indian boxer Pooja Rani secured a hard-fought win over Emilia Kotareska to move to the women's 80 kg semi-finals. With the victory, the two-time Asian champion joined Jasmine Lamboria and Nupur Shioran in assuring India of a medal at this edition of the tournament. Usain Bolt warned Australian schoolboy sprint sensation Got that translating teenage talent into world and Olympic titles is a tough process. Wolfsburg has signed Danish midfielder Christian Eriksen until 2027. Eriksen joins the Bundesliga club following the end of his contract at Manchester United. Australia all-rounder Aaron Hardy has been ruled out of Australia A Tour of India due to a shoulder injury. And Italy's Giulio Pellizzari powered away from a small group of riders in the final kilometres on the climb to the finish to win stage 17 of Vuelta a España. So that's it in this edition of Express News. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.